Did Jesus have a painfully short attention span? Perish the thought. In a book titled Jesus Interrupted, one of the world's most famous Bible critics cites one of his favorite Bible contradictions. In John 13:36, Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, where are you going?" A few verses later, Thomas said, "Lord, we don't know where you're going." And then, a few minutes later, at the same meal, Jesus upbraided his disciples, saying, "Now, I'm going to him who sent me, yet none of you ask me, 'Where are you going?'" That leaves only two possibilities, according to the author Bart Ehrman. Either Jesus had a very short attention span, or there's something strange going on with the sources for these chapters. First, it's instructive to note that were I to take the professor in the woodenly literal sense that he takes the Bible, I would be doing him a grave injustice. It would be less than fair to suppose that he really thinks it is possible that Jesus had a very short attention span. Anyone who reads Ehrman's materials in context knows full well that he is convinced that John, whom he characterized as a lower-class, illiterate, Aramaic-speaking peasant, did not write the gospel attributed to him, and that the sources that were cobbled together to create the text are decidedly unreliable. Furthermore, we must be careful not to fall for historical revisionists who, like Ehrman, attempt to persuade the gullible that John was illiterate and therefore could not have written the fourth gospel. John may have been unlettered in the sense that he was not educated beyond the primary schooling available to boys at that time, but he was clearly not illiterate. Not only is it an uncharitable stretch to demean John for his lack of a formal education, but this characterization neglects the reality that John continually astonished the Jewish teachers of the law, with his knowledge and with his wisdom in much the same way as Jesus himself had, though he too was without the requisite rabbinic training demanded by Ehrman. Finally, allow me to underscore what is painfully obvious to anyone who engages Bart's so-called problems with the Bible. Ehrmanites, it seems, are wholly incapable of comprehending the subtlety of sophisticated literary nuances. Peter and Thomas obviously uttered the words, "Where are you going?" with decidedly different drifts. As the venerable New Testament scholar R.C.H. Linsky has well said, Peter's question in chapter 13:36 was only a selfish exclamation which would not hear of Jesus' going away alone, and the assertion of Thomas in chapter 14, verse 5, was nothing but an expression of discouragement and dullness of mind. So here Jesus is leaving. His going to his center means so much to the disciples, and yet none of them request one word of this precious information. Put another way, when the disciples focused on mean earthly vanities, Christ intended to elevate their gaze to eternal verities. Did Jesus have a painfully short attention span, or are Ehrmanites lost in a literalistic labyrinth of their own making? Well, you be the judge.